Where we sit today and look at the MCU, it's hard to imagine that just 15 years ago, when the idea of the MCU came up in Hollywood, that everybody turned it down. Of course, Marvel Studios then independently funded multiple films to lead up to the Avengers, and the first two were The Incredible Hulk as part of a Universal deal and a ticking clock, and Iron Man. Now Marvel Studios reflects a little bit on The Incredible Hulk and the terrifying productions from those early days. So there is a brand new book coming at us called The Story of Marvel Studios, The Making of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which includes interviews and snippets of new info from those early days of the MCU, specifically reflecting on the idea of this shared universe concept and everything that is now a result of those early days. And one piece of info that's been released in relation to the book was those early days on working on the post-production of the films. And in it, they talk about how Iron Man and The Incredible Hulk were in post-production at the same time, just months apart, over in Tribeca West. And they talk about how their floors were literally right next to each other. Like 3 floors up from Iron Man was The Incredible Hulk. And they talk about how one producer from one of the films to the other would go back and forth and talk to each other, and specifically how when it came down to those last couple of months, there was a lot of worry when it came to The Incredible Hulk, because they would pop on down into the Iron Man offices and see how far they've made it, and then look at where they were, and they would start to get worried because they were nowhere near there. They said it was very much filled with anxiety and sort of stress because Iron Man was tracking so far ahead with its visual shots and what they were doing that Marvel Studios wanted to get it right. The whole Universal problem and The Incredible Hulk and multiple studios being involved and just all sorts of headaches with marketing and what was happening behind the scenes, like Edward Norton being problematic, that all kind of, obviously compounded on everybody because you're working on something, you're hoping it's a success, but outside of what you're working on, everybody else seems to be doing their own thing, including the actor, the director, and even the studio working with you. And they specifically talk about the idea that going into these films and working one right next to the other, that Iron Man was always seen as this experimental movie that's going to be, yeah, it's there, but Incredible Hulk would be the one that's like, this is what holds up the franchise, because that's how they looked at it, because, again, who was more popular before Iron Man 1? The Hulk or Iron Man? Exactly. Everybody knew who the Hulk was. The comic nerds knew of Iron Man, but they said as the films came out, they saw it, they switched places. So that's just a little piece that's coming at us from this book, and honestly, I can't wait to pick it up to see what else they kind of reveal in there, because it feels like there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff about those early days that we still don't know, and this book is going to get into.